Hello, this is Inga Bailey, your eyebrow expert and owner and operator of Inga Bailey Brows here in Atlanta, Georgia. And thank you so much for joining me for another Brow Tip Tuesday. So today I'm going to be teaching you how to score perfect looking brows when filling them in. Okay, so last week I talked about how to use a highlighter, which is a key to scoring that natural, fleeky, very crisp brow. So now I'm going to teach you how to balance them out a little bit better. Now mind you, this video is only a tip video, so there are more intricate details when it comes to fill in, but these tips will really help you as you're filling your brows in to kind of make sure that they're a little bit more balanced and how to balance them out. So before I get started, I want to make sure you understand a little bit of the structure of the eyebrow. So as you look at my brows, this part of the brow here, from here, the front, to this high point is what I refer to as the body of the brow. Within the body, at the bottom of the brow, is what I refer to as the anchor of the brow. It supports the brow. Right here at the top of this brow is what I refer to as the peak, and this part that angles downward is the tail. A few things to remember when you're filling your brows in, that your brows have the same anatomy and structure as a mountain. So when you look at a mountain, very rarely do we notice any other part of the mountain but the peak. We're not really looking at the bottom of the mountain, we're really looking at the peak. Our eyes are gravitating up, we're going, oh my gosh, look at that mountain. Okay, so same thing with your brows. When you're looking at a brow with a nice lift, you're seeing this right here, this peak, this part right here. That's what's giving you that lift, okay? Now, without the base though, which is the bottom, which a lot of people refer to as the arch, there is no peak. So make sure that you're keeping this area nice and full and you're not taking away too much, because what happens is when you take away too much here, you start getting that rounded brow. And then when you take off too much here, you start getting a flat brow. Okay, so we don't want flat or round brows, we want nice angled brows. Okay, so to make sure your brows are lifted properly, you want to make sure you're filling in your brows from here, right in this area, and down on top of the tails. Also, when you're growing your brows and also when you're filling them in, remember that anchor. The reason why I call it the anchor is because it supports this peak. When this angles downward towards the top of the nose, this is what gives you this peak here. Okay, so it's almost like a seesaw. If this area of the brow goes down, this part has no choice but to go up. So we need to make sure that we're always keeping all these hairs right along here intact, and also making sure that we're filling in and keeping these hairs along the top intact. What happens is people go in and they remove too much hair in the bottom, and then you end up with flatter brows. Okay, your brows are flat. And then also they take all these little hairs right here, when they're growing back and they're filling in, they look like strays. So if you're not shaping the brow properly, if you're not careful, you can end up flattening out your brow unintentionally. That happens a lot with threaders, because people take the thread and they thread right across and chop off that peak. So just be very mindful. If that happens to you, you want to create a better shape to your brow, just take your pencil or your powder, whatever you're using, and go right along here and filling in that area so your brows are nice and lifted. Also make sure that your peak on the base on the bottom is lifted properly and filled in properly, and also make sure that your anchor is anchoring downward. Okay, so if you ever had the issue when one brow is sitting up higher or one's lower, same thing. If you want both brows to sit up higher, go to the brow that's not as high and fill in that top. If you like the way that other brow is sitting and this brow is too high, just take your finger and go over the peak and soften it. That's of course after you filled your brows in. Now if they're just that way unintentionally without filling them in, you need to get them shaped properly. But if you fill your brows in and one is higher than the other, that's how you fix that. Hopefully these tips will help you. I will come back later on and do a more detailed video of me actually doing that, so you can see what exactly I'm using, the products that I'm using, what I recommend, and also my technique when it comes to filling in the brows with a powder or a pencil and utilizing that highlighter. Okay, so if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, please send them my way. You can follow me on all my social media outlets, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Everything is at Inga Bailey Brows. You can email me at inga@ingabaileyBrows.com, or of course feel free to visit me on my website, www.ingabaileyBrows.com. And I will see you next week for another Brow Tip Tuesday. Have a great brow day. Bye.